Even though that was $1 million, we could divide that by three, and that's 166 people. So this is just an average of what money can be made, you know. So in the process of a year-to-year basis of putting down that money that we're putting down, we're able to open up businesses instead of trying to go in the stock market. Um, that will raise even more money than we were willing to put in before. Excuse me. What happens is that over a period of time, the business takes care of itself. And number one, we can take open up elder care facilities. I didn't say nursing homes. I said elder care facilities. Okay? Within a community, your elderly are still your responsibility. Okay? We need to give them food and nutrients so that they can be healthy. We need to give them healthy activity. We still need to give them volunteer work so that they can feel and are appreciated and their brains don't get deteriorated. If you've worked in a nursing home or volunteered in a nursing home or dealt in a nursing home, if you've dealt with a person who's retired and no longer is doing something, and you see what happens when the oxygen is not going to the brain, that the blood is not circulating in the brain anymore, then you will know that these people start to go downhill, okay? Even young men, when they do a lot of sports and then they stop, they gain a lot of weight. Their body was designed as a work of art, so they were purging their body of all the impurities at that time period. Then they get sluggish and it's hard to do certain things. That theory is the same thing as a person who's retired. You don't need to slave, but you need to be active. So you need to give your elderly regular activity and healthy nutrition and games to be able to keep their mind clear and their bodies healthy and focused. Because then they can do things for your children. You know, obviously, you're still going to have nurses around the facility. Obviously, you're going to have security around the facility. Obviously, you're going to have caretakers and volunteers in the level of children, of teens. Okay? But kids need to have elderly to deal with. The more they have a person to talk to, the better a kid is able to speak. A child is able to enunciate. They're able to pick up on things faster the more they have socialization around them. So children need the elderly and need their teens around them more than anything to develop their minds. You know, we still got an issue with homeless, which for maybe four to $800, you can open up a building, get a couple bunk beds, put them in there, give them some clean clothes from um, the Goodwill or donate some clothes and get these guys cleaned up. Make sure that there's activities for them to do, but in the process, they need to work. You know, there is a lot of dilapidated buildings. There are a lot of dilapidated buildings within the community. There's a lot of issues with how our community looks. Give these men shovels. Let them turn some dirt over. Put some grass seeds on these little what is the word I'm looking for? On these little dirt spots in your neighborhood. Get them to plant some seeds and to manage the growing of some of your food so that we can have something to be able to not only give to them, but to give to our children. Get them to collect your plastic and stop giving it to the plastic facility. They're selling it to somebody else. Shred it and start figuring out how to mold things. Same thing with your aluminum metal. YouTube is a treasure trove for education videos and information. Um, Send them to school for things that, to be quite honest with you, you're not willing to do. And I'm not talking about the plumbing and anything else. I'm talking about the heavy duty stuff. Because in the end of all things, you can pay them for it. And now that you've taken care of them and kind of erected them up, they're going to desire to help you, you know? The next thing is giving our kids work. Traditionally, McDonald's and Sonic's and all those places were jobs for the 13-year-old, 14-year-old, 15-year-old, 16-year-old, 17-year-old, first and second year college students to be able to have a little pocket money as they grew themselves, as well as to keep your kids off the street, especially when you weren't home, and to teach them responsibility, you know? Somehow, some way, our adults have decided that they're keeping those jobs, and now these adults are making more money than me in the medical field, or making the same amount of money as me in the medical field. Excuse me, and that's not cool. I know people have different theories about this, but when do we think that it was okay to start settling and not growing? That's a big issue. This is why Republicans always find reasons to keep you down further, because they're like, yo, we're not going to pay for you to sit on your behinds. We're going to still, we can't afford it. You know, as far as we're concerned, if you're going to stay down at that level, then we're going to make sure you get really low so that you can do what we need you to do, the way we need you to do, the way we want you to do. Ha 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 ha. The aristocratic system thesis, you know. So you want to support their habit, and they're going to keep doing you wrong. And in order to make you think things are going well, what is going to happen is that somebody in the nation of rebuilding is going to say, okay, we're going to raise taxes, we're going to increase wages, and we are going to give money to those who need it. So where is this money coming from if everybody's asking? What that just did was change the price of goods, where bread at one point was like 50 cents or $1 or $2. Now it's like $4, $5, $6, you know? So watching the alteration in prices from produce and things that you eat is a clear sign for what's going on in the world around you. You know? It's easy to just say that somebody owes you something. It is another thing altogether for you to do what it takes to make sure that you have. And dependence on other people is what is killing us. So some people's solutions is boycotting, rioting, and whatnot. So my question is this, and well, I'll give you a historical fact, okay? Macedonia conquered Greece and made the Greeks part of Macedonia, okay? The Romans were a small group of people that they did not respect. The Bible tells you, for us, to beware of the ones with the red shields. The Bible tells you certain things about this history. You know, regular history tells you certain things about this stuff. But the Romans grew and they conquered them. The whole entire thought process that I have for you is not to grab sword or shield, but where do you get off trying to fight for something without that oneness? And people always correct me. Yes, some people are doing it, and some people are making changes in their own way. That's fine. This is not for those people. This is for that collective spirit to come about within the believing community as well as the black community, because somehow we need to get this done, and we're not getting it done. So you want to riot, but you have no voice. And the reason why you have no voice is because they don't respect you. They don't respect you because you don't take care of your own in the first place. So why would I respect you? You're not a threat to me yet. You become a threat to me when you become one. When a person dies and everybody's in the streets, when there's somebody sick and everybody makes sure that that person's okay, when a person's losing their house and everybody goes to their bank account and grabs $100 to forestall the devil. um, when a person is having an issue with their children and all the men come up and they take part in developing those kids because their father, for whatever reason, is not there. That's oneness in spirit, you know. Lobbying, having the ability to hire lawyers, and every single time you don't like things, do as everybody else does and sue their behinds. So having a council in an alliance is very essential. Doesn't matter what you believe, but that this council is designed so that whoever the person is that you're going against, you can be able to handle your things. This is the stuff that we need to get done and we need to have, and the understanding that we need to have to be a class of people to be reckoned with. Again, you could spend all that time talking about white supremacy if you want to. What I know is that the discussion of what they do is not as important as what we need to do and what we're doing. Boycotting something without having services to replace it is a serious issue. And in some shapes or forms, there should be a benefit to that oneness, you know. I'd have to assume, because I was not there and you can only read, but when people had to go long distances during boycotting, other people who had cars had to start giving lots of people rides. I'm pretty sure that everybody had to put gas money on it. I'm pretty sure that people who couldn't do that walked, and that in order to decrease the amount of murders of little kids, you have to have escorts. The same thing with women. In order to cut down crime in your city, you need to have a watch group. These are things I'm throwing out there just to say, man, we need to be mobilized. And without that mobilization, which I'm going to put a connecting thread from a brother by the name of Uriah that he and I had a discussion about yesterday. But what's the why should anybody respect you if you are not doing what you need to do to mobilize and be one? Why should they respect you? You don't have a voice, and that's what you need, is a voice. And part of having that voice is to be able to do things together, to plan together, to have a council. I'm not saying that people who are already owning restaurants give up their restaurant. What I am saying is those who are catering right now, who needed a place to cook, now have that ability to cook some food to sell, and take care of the restaurant in the process. Saying that those who could not go to college could now have an opportunity to go to college because the restaurant's funding college. I'm saying those who are disenfranchised will now have no excuse within that community to say they're disenfranchised. Excuse me. What I'm saying is that in order to be a true soldier, you need to be equipped. You need to have armor. And that armor and that equipment is education, is nutrition, is resources. And the weakest link cannot be the man sick and decrepit on the streets, because that's a bad look. No one respects a man who don't take care of their weak. And I don't know about you, but I don't want to be known for that. And while I'm trying to do what I can do in my own way, I think that we all need to grow one another to get things done. Everybody is not going to be able to farm, but we should have some understanding of food production and have a method of seed trade. Everybody's not going to know how to do animal husbandry, but we can pay somebody to teach us, buy books and learn. We can get veterinarians by sending them to college. These kind of things are the ways of a world that's trying to come out and come up and do good. History will tell you what to do if you research history that might not necessarily be your own. I'm not talking about any religions. I'm not talking about Bible religion. I'm not talking about Egyptian religion. I'm not talking about Islamic religion. I'm not talking about anything else. You don't have time to argue with atheists on this subject. You just need to come up with concepts that are going to help your people. This is my concept. This is my thought process that I'm sharing with you. And I hope it blesses you and that you want to do this. Be blessed.